the questions to keep myself aligned. Waste away the hours doing what I should, knowing that my soul tells me it's not for my own good.
The universe supports life. It flows freely and endlessly. Okay, that's what the universe does. It supports life. And one of the interesting things that people were saying was, if God wanted to heal me, because I didn't even talk about God, like people were bringing it up. I wasn't talking about it. I wasn't telling anybody what I do. I was just saying, let's just talk, okay? But people were throwing different things out there. Lots of assumptions were being made, and I wasn't even saying anything. So, God doesn't want to heal me. That's some of the things that were being written. If God wanted to heal me, God would, right? So I'm thinking to myself, like, okay, that's how lost they are in the dark right now. And I'm not judging them. I totally get it. Like, I get it. I get that they've been suffering for a long time, but there is a way out. So because we feel separate from each other, it causes millions of people to live without purpose. So right now, what does their purpose become? Right? So when you've been suffering for so long, what does your purpose become? Your purpose becomes continual suffering when all you've been told is that there's no other way out. And when somebody offers you a glimmer of hope, a glimmer of maybe, that is scary. That is some scary shit, because it's like, what if I say yes? And what if it doesn't work? What if I get my hopes up and one more time I'm let down, right? So I get it. I understand what they're saying. How I'm going to work my way around that, I don't know yet, but I get it, right? I get it. So kindness is also about acting as if you're already living the life that you intend, living the life that you want to be living, right? Because if you think, and I'm going to use that, what happened today, if you think that your life is horrible, and if you live your life as if it's horrible and there's no hope for you, then how can you be kind? How can you be kind? Right? There's no kindness in that, right? There's no kindness in that, because you feel like you're a complete victim of your circumstance. And again, understandable, not judging. But it's tough to be kind when you are in pain. It's tough to be kind when you are continually being let down and you think that you were brought into this world to feel all this pain, and there's nothing but pain, right? So it's hard. I get it. It's hard. But if it was easy, then everybody would be able to do it. So the hard things are usually the things that are worth doing. So if it's hard to crawl out of that hole that you put yourself in, then maybe it's worth doing. It's worth doing. It's worth trying. It's not giving up, right? So it's about not giving up. So bringing joy into your life every day. Bring joy into your life every day. And joy is in this moment. It's nothing that you can plan. You don't plan joy. Like, joy is like right now, right? So, in this moment, there is joy. So I still, regardless of all of the abuse I took this morning, I am still finding joy in this moment because I learned something from all of that. Okay, that was like a real live learning experience this morning, big time. And thank you, Corey. I like to think that I don't deserve all that negative junk, but it's not me, and I know that, and I don't own it. Obstacles are a great way to learn and grow. So that was a really, like I said, it was an awesome learning experience this morning. That's not why I did it. I wasn't expecting that kind of pushback, but I had to look at it and say, okay, what did I learn from that? And like, clearly I'm living in in a little bit, because I'm I've become this really great positive person. And I'm always trying to look at the bright side of things. And of course it will work out and it's going to be fine. And then, I put this out there thinking, wow, people are just going to jump on this and they're just going to want to know how to get better. And maybe I'll create this group and whoa. So I had to really learn, how am I going to do this? Right. So I'm not saying I'm giving up, because I will not give up, but it's a little bit about how, right? I've got to work on that a little bit. Like, what am I going to do here to let people know that there is a way out of this? Okay, there is a way out. You got yourself in, you can get yourself out. You have all this power within you, right? The other really cool thing, if I could get my notes up here, this thing always goes into like hibernation mode on me. 1 second. I love this Remarkable. This thing is great. Be at peace with everyone in life. So today I had to but I had to remember that, right? Be at peace with everyone in life, because when they are not at peace, that's when you need to be more at peace. Okay. I always had this thing, when you're in a relationship, only one person gets to go ape shit at a time, right? So somebody has to be peaceful, because if I fed into what they were saying, that could have been a really ugly mess, right? If I was like, don't call me a troll. What do you mean I'm a witch? You don't know what you're talking about. They're telling me to F off and F off you too. And like, I could have gone there. Like, people go there, right? I could have fed into all of that, but it's like, no, I'm going to look at this with kindness and understanding and be peaceful about it, and understand that where are they coming from? They're coming from a place of fear. They're coming from a place of ego. They have turned their back at this moment on intention without knowing that that's what they've done. That's what they've done. So I have to, doing what I do, especially, I need to understand that. I have to be aware of that. Okay. If God or source was unkind, then creation would not be possible, right? So when people blame God for what's going on in their life and not take responsibility for what's happening to them, if God was unkind, there would be no creation. Why would God create anything? Why would universe create anything, right? If it was unkind, right? If it was not from a place of love. Love creates, right? Love is how we create, right? So the face of intention has kindness. So choose to be kind. When you have unkind thoughts, you have turned away from intention. Thought of judgment towards anyone does not define the person you are judging. So when people were calling me all this stuff this morning and name calling and all the stuff they were saying, like, it honestly just kind of was just like Teflon, right? Because I know I'm not those things, right? Just because somebody calls me a troll doesn't make me a troll. Wow. That was the first time I've ever been called a troll. I actually laughed. I thought that was kind of funny, but I'm not laughing at them. I was just laughing at the word, but interesting, right? But that just because someone says something to you doesn't make it so. Okay. So you need to know who you are, right? When you love yourself and you validate yourself and you are kind to yourself and you respect yourself and you appreciate who you are, it doesn't matter what anybody else says, because you know who you are. You know what you are. People can say whatever they want. It won't matter, right? Because they're speaking from a place of ego. Because if somebody was speaking from a place of love, they wouldn't call you those things anyway, right? If they were speaking from fear, they would, right? But if they were speaking from a place of love and kindness and respect, they would never say those things to you, because they respect themselves too much to say something like that to you. Okay? So that's what I'm saying. So kindness is like super important in intention. If you call a person a distasteful name as a judgment, you don't define them. It actually defines you. Okay? So when you call somebody something, when you are distastefully, when you are cruel, when you are mean to somebody, that doesn't define them. Okay? That defines who you are. Right? So you need to look at that as a reflection. Right? If you are mean to someone else, if you are name calling, what's happening there really? Is it them or is it you? You need to look at that. Okay? Because you don't define another person. You just don't. Okay? You don't define someone else. The things that you say define who you are. Okay? And if you are treating somebody like that, then that means that you have left the field of intention. All right? So if you're treating somebody unkindly, then you have left the field of intention. So when you are name calling, and we've all done it, I've done it in the past, right? Said something to hurt someone else because they were hurting me, right? What does that say about me? right? What does that say about me? Right? So you have to be very vigilant in the things that you're saying to someone and learning to love and respect yourself. And then if anyone says anything to you, it won't matter. It just won't. When you turn your back on the field of intention, when that happens, you take on all the negative struggles, the concerns, the illnesses, the challenges. That's what happens, right? So you need to get reattached to that, and you need to clear your triggers and release things. And you need to, there's some work that needs to be done if you want to get right into that space. That's for sure. But once you're there, once you understand the power that you have flowing inside you, it's ridiculous. But people, they only see the power that they think that they don't have inside them. So I'm going to see if I can do this. If you guys can see this for a second. I'm going to try this. Can you guys see my stick man? Oh, you can. Okay, so here's my stick man. All right, I draw horribly. All right, so here's my stick man. So this is what's happening when we're thinking negative thoughts. Okay, so when we're worrying, when we're constantly saying negative things to ourselves, this is what happens. So constantly, all day long, our brain sends information to our body. Okay, and then our body sends information to our brain. And this happens all day long. This is very 101, by the way, but this happens this is what happens. So this information is also energy, okay? It is energy, all right? So what happens is when we start worrying about something, or we're feeling bad about something, or we're fearful of something, or we feel betrayed, or whatever it is, or we feel lied to or falsely accused, and let's say we thought about that thing one time today, all right? So all those people that were saying all those negative things to me today, they're probably thought about it a few times today already. Clearly did not make their day. Okay, so a piece of this, a strand of this energy starts to slow down. Okay, while the rest of it is going, I'll draw it out here. It's starting to slow down. And while the rest of it is still moving at its own pace, there's this strand that's starting to slow down like this, okay? That's that slow strand because you thought about it one time today. Now imagine that you thought or felt distrust or whatever that negative emotion was, but you felt it 7 times today. And not only for today, but you've been feeling that for 4 years, 5 years. And each strand sticks to the last strand. So it becomes cumulative, okay? It's not the same strand going slower and slower. It's more energy going slower and slower. So now all of this energy that you have flowing through your body that was going nice and at a healthy speed is now going slower and slower. And it's starting to create a substance in you, like a weight. And I don't mean like poundage. I mean like a weight, a heaviness, a substance. This substance is what causes the illness in your body and in your mind. Okay? So if you can cause this, then simply by changing the way that you're doing, by releasing the triggers that you have put in here, by changing the beliefs that have caused this, by making those changes, we can then speed this back up again. And what happens when energy is flowing properly through your body? Okay? What happens then? Guess what? You get well. All right? You made yourself sick. You made yourself have a mood issues, mental disorders, whatever. You did it. You can undo it. Okay? The concept is that simple. How we do it, there's some steps. But part of it, the first thing is about having some kindness for yourself, being open, being available. All right? So we are in a container. This is a container, a vessel, right? So if you think about this like a container and a vessel, if you fill it with unkind thoughts, with negative thoughts, what do you think is going to happen to this vessel? Right? I know it sounds very basic and 101, but really it's that simple. We make it so complicated. All right? It's that simple. But if you filled this vessel with desires and intentions of being positive and being better and being creative and being kind and all of that, then what happens to this vessel? Right? So, I intend to be living my life I intend to be living my life in a way that is with harmony, with rapport, with intention. That's what I choose. Or I can choose to feel like there's no hope, that I'm stuck and I'm going to be like this forever. And there's nothing that anyone can do about it. And I'm always going to be in pain and I'm always going to suffer. This is your choices, right? These are choices that we make, right? You don't always have to know how you're going to get to the other side. Just by knowing that you have that desire to be something better, to be kind, to be loving, to not only to others, but especially to yourself. By knowing that, by doing that, it's not always easy, especially when we spent our whole lives not doing that. But it's been proven psychologically that it takes 26 days to create a new habit. So why don't we try something new and see what that does? Is it going to be an overnight fix? No, but it's going to be pretty damn close, right? If you do the work, if you get someone to help you, or if you know how to do the work yourself, then do it. You know, these are choices. And is it going to be easy? No, but you spent your whole life getting here, for heaven's sake. Like, it takes a little bit of time, okay? Anytime you are not in harmony with the field of energy, you are in resistance. And that's just simply a fact. So this is an interesting one I was reading this morning. So we see children being born with disabilities and challenges, and we wonder why. We all do have a purpose in this life. And sometimes a purpose is also a domino effect. So why would a child die? Why does a child born with a disability? Why do these things happen? Sometimes the purpose of that child is to create a domino effect, right? So for instance, if a child dies when they're young, maybe the purpose of that child, that was the purpose. The purpose was for them to die young because the people around them, their loved ones, needed to see something, needed to learn something, needed to be on purpose, on a purpose, right? And maybe that child's dying was the domino effect to get them there, okay? To push them in that direction. So there is always a reason for everything, even the things that feel like there is no reason. Like why, right? There is a reason for it, right? A friend of mine, a very good friend of mine, lost her son when he was 17, and he died in a car accident. And she was the one who actually found the car. She went out looking for him and she found the car. So she was devastated, right? Devastated, of course, right? What is this? Like his life is just beginning. Like, how does this happen? And she looked to everyone to get some kind of help, to be able to communicate with him, to understand what was happening and why it was happening. And now, after years she tried everything up to the point of even going to psychics and mediums and everything. Like she just wanted to talk to him. She wanted to understand. She has become an amazing medium herself now. That was her gift that she wasn't using. So the part of Matthew's death, the big purpose around that, and we did a lot of testing around this and we connected to the energy, and it was just basically his purpose was to get her to use her gift to help people. That was the domino effect. He was a very old soul. He'd been here a million times. Okay, so that was his purpose. Sometimes it's to create a domino effect. It makes no sense to us at the moment. But even in the obstacles, everything is orchestrated. Even in the obstacles, even in the setbacks, even in those things that we can't understand, there is something there for you. You just need to observe it when you're ready. Okay? So maybe the perfection that Source is seeking when we have children that are born with disabilities is the reaction to these children. Are we kind? How are people going to react? Maybe it's to see our kindness, to see if we can still remain connected to intention, even in these types of situations. Can we be kind and loving, or are we going to live in fear and resistance, right? So that is basically, now if I can find this morning, because I was on my phone, but I found this really cool story and I hope I can find it. Okay, I want to read this to you really, really fast, and then. So this is a story out of Wayne Dyer's books, and this is a story that he tells about this child named Shia. It says, in Brooklyn, New York, there's a school called Chush, and it's like shush, but it's with a C. And it caters to the learning disabled children. Some children remain in this school for their entire school career, while others can be mainstreamed into conventional schools. This school, this Chush, was having a fundraiser, and the father of a Chush child delivered a speech that would never be forgotten to all that attended. After extolling, I don't even know what that word means, but after thanking the school and its dedicated staff, he cried out, "Where is the perfection in my son, Shia? Where is the perfection in my son, Shia? Everything God does is done with perfection, but my son cannot understand things as other children do. My child cannot remember facts and figures as other children do. Where is God's perfection?" The audience was shocked by the question and pained by the father's anguish and stilled by the piercing query. "I believe," the father answered, "that when God brings a child like this into the world, the perfection that he seeks is in the way that people react to this child." He then told the following story about his son Shia. One afternoon, Shia and his father walked into a park where some boys Shia knew were playing baseball. Shia asked, "Do you think they'll let me play?" Shia's father knew that his son was not at all athletic and that most boys would not want him on their team. But Shia's father understood that if his son was chosen to play, it would give him a sense of belonging. Shia's father approached one of the boys on the field and asked if Shia could play. The boy looked around for guidance from his teammates. Getting none, he took the matters into his own hands and said, "We're losing by 6 runs. The game is in the 8th inning. I guess he can be on our team, and we'll try to put him up to bat in the 9th inning." Shia's father was ecstatic as Shia smiled broadly. Shia was told to put on a glove and to go out to play in center field. In the bottom of the 8th inning, Shia's team scored a few runs but was still behind by 3. In the bottom of the 9th inning, Shia's team scored again and now had 2 outs and the bases loaded, with the potential winning run on base. Shia was scheduled to be up. Would the team actually let Shia bat at this juncture and give away their chance to win this game? Surprisingly, Shia was given the bat. Everyone knew that it was all but impossible because Shia didn't even know how to hold the bat properly, let alone hit with it. However, as Shia stepped up to the plate, the pitcher moved in a few steps to lob the ball in softly so Shia could at least be able to make contact. The first pitch came in, Shia swung clumsily and missed. One of Shia's teammates came up to Shia, and together they held the bat and faced the pitcher waiting for the next pitch. The pitcher again took a few steps forward to toss the ball softly towards Shia. As the pitch came in, Shia and his teammates swung the bat, and together they hit a slow ground ball to the pitcher. The pitcher picked up the soft grounder and could easily have thrown the ball to first baseman. Shia would have been out, and they would have ended the game. Instead, the pitcher took the ball and threw it in a high arc to the right field, far from reach from the first baseman. Everyone started yelling, "Shia, run to first, run to first." Never in his life had Shia run to first. He scampered down the baseline, wide-eyed and startled. By the time he reached first base, the right fielder had the ball. He could have thrown the ball to the second baseman, who would have tagged out Shia, who was still running. But the right fielder understood what the pitcher's intentions were. So he threw the ball far over the third baseman's head. Everyone yelled, "Run to second, run to second." Shia ran towards second base as the runners ahead of him deliriously circled the bases towards home. As Shia reached the second base, the opposing shortstop ran to him, turned him in the direction of third base, and shouted, "Run to third." As Shia rounded third, the boys from both teams ran behind him, screaming, "Shia, run home! Shia, run home!" Stepped on home plate, and all 18 boys lifted him on their shoulders and made him the hero. And as he had just hit a grand slam, and won the game for his team. That day, the father softly, with tears now rolling down his face, those 18 reached their level of God's perfection. And that is a true story. That actually happened. So awesome, right? Anyways, I'm going to leave you with that and say that, it's not about winning or losing. It's really about kindness. It's really, truly about kindness for yourself and for others. So anyways, have a fantastic day and just be kind to someone who's not expecting it. Okay, that's my challenge today. Be kind to someone who is not expecting it. Be understanding, be aware. And that's it. That's what I've got for you today. So have a great day, and I will see you guys later. Bye.
Look at my reflection in the mirror. I see that it's not the person who lives inside of me. Done with all the fear and doubts, the negativity. I'm shedding all the crap right now. I'm stepping in.